Hello YouTube, Joseph Crickmore here, and if you're watching this, then you know what that means. My punishment for some stupid copyright thing back in May has finally passed. My 90 days without live streaming has finally passed. Well, technically, I got it back Wednesday, but I was at my grandma's house, so I couldn't do anything. But I'm back live streaming. I'm so happy that I'm able to be here. And like I said in my video I posted a while back saying I was going to be live streaming again soon, I was going to do two topics. Discussing the fan base of Power Rangers and the fan base and my personal experience with this franchise and Thomas and Friends. Because the two communities aren't really that much different when you consider how much they hate the companies that make the show. The Thomas and Friends fans hate Mattel for doing what they're doing with the show because some characters are irrelevant now, but I'm getting off topic. That's a different live stream for a different day. Today, Power Rangers. Power Rangers, have you heard of it? It's Power Rangers. It's gone through a lot since this season. I know, this was just a Happy Meal toy at Burger King. Don't tell McDonald's. This was by accident, and this is the same day I got my live streaming back. Coincidence? Yeah, coincidence. But my personal experience with the show didn't start with any of these old seasons. I'm only 14, and I'm happy to say this. You know why? Because my first Power Ranger season was Super Samurai. I'm not joking. I started Power Rangers with Samurai. And people think that's a terrible place to start, don't you think? Well, I didn't know about Power Rangers until after this. Okay? This was my first Power Ranger season. Now, you could argue, you can't watch Super Samurai without watching the first Samurai. I technically did. It's called online, dummies. You know, those people out there that are representing the terrible haters. And this is a video discussing some of those haters. Because this is a season that started a trend of, let's just start with something that came right after that. This. After this, we get this. And after this, we get this. See where I'm going with it? And then after that, we get this. And then after that, we get this. And the weirdest crossover ever happened. This. I still don't get it. I still don't get the Clash of the Red Ranger film. It's the worst crossover ever. Just saying, because it's one Ranger with a team of 5. I mean, supposedly the other Samurai Rangers, these 4, were sent to the RPM dimension by Cog in the film, because I've seen this film twice now to try and figure out why it's terrible. I still don't. If it had some connection with the RPM show, like if there was one episode in RPM where this kind of thing happened, I could forgive them, but it didn't, and it could have had a double story, but I'll get into this later. So, where to start with the fan base? People like the old seasons. I'm not gonna lie, I've seen Dino Thunder, I've seen Ninja Storm. That's as far back as I'm going for now. I know Kendricks, okay? I at least know Lost Galaxy. I know Lost Galaxy, okay? I know every single season, point of fact. Thank you, theme songs. I can name every Power Ranger season in order from memory. And some actors can't even do that. Ready? Mighty Morphin had 3 seasons. Bada bing, bada boom. That's right there. Zeo, Turbo, In Space, Lost Galaxy, Lightspeed Rescue, Time Force, Wild Force, Ninja Storm, Dino Thunder, SPD, Mystic Force, Operation Overdrive, Jungle Fury, RPM, Samurai, Super Samurai, Mega Force, Super Mega Force, Dino Charge, Dino Supercharge, Ninja Steel, Ninja Super Steel, Super Ninja Steel, I don't care. Beast Morphers. Thank you, Hasbro. I love Hasbro for Transformers. Their toys are amazing. So the fact that Hasbro now has Power Rangers in their grasp. Does this mean Zyuohger and Tokyuger and Curio Ranger? Not what Dino Charge was. The one with the orbs. The one that has like 12 weird Rangers. I feel like those 3 seasons are Hasbro's next priority. Anyway, where do I go from here? You can quote me if I got every season in the right order. I pretty much memorized the order. The entire Disney era of Power Rangers is the easiest to memorize because their theme songs are like the point where the theme songs actually got good and catchy. I know Wild Force, Power Ranger, and Time Force. Okay, I know those, but they're not as catchy as, because Dino Thunder actually has an actual song, I think. Hold on, let me pull it up. Let me pull up the song. No, not that. Here we go. Now listen to this and tell me this is not catchy. I feel like Saban's gonna claim this afterwards. Power Rangers, Dino Thunder, victory is ours forevermore. Protectors of the might, defenders sworn to fight. Oh, shut up. Power Rangers go, save us from these evil forces. Power Rangers, Dino Thunder, victory is win, the power from within. You get the point. Other seasons have the same goodness. Disney era. The best season that represents Disney is Mystic Force. Like, the best season that represents Disney the most. Okay, talking about what I've experienced, the good of Power Rangers, now let's talk about the bad. And what I mean by the bad, I'm talking about the hate that the show gets because of a fan base. There was a reason people hated... there was a reason people hated this. Its Japanese counterpart, for some people, was better. Because, I guess, this terrible storytelling? I don't know. I couldn't see any bad in Megaforce. Honestly. I mean, people can argue that their Zords were a little handed to them in some cases, like the Sea Brothers, Land Brothers, and Sky Brothers. It seemed in those 3 episodes that the point for those Zords, like the point of unlocking them, was kind of pointless. And the Robo Knight and the Gosei Great Grand, and at that point, I was willing to accept it. Then later on, we get this Gosei Jet Megazord? Huh? It's a thing that appears in 1 episode and never appears again. And then we get the Gosei Ultimate, which is completely superior to Jet, which is why Gosei Jet is never used again. When it could, it's basically the upgraded to the original. It's more powerful. Why didn't they use it? Bad storytelling, I guess. Because that's the part of Power Rangers that I like the most. The Zords. The big mechas. The giant machines. And... okay, now I'm starting to lose hope on Tokyuger. Just thinking of those Zords. Ooh, I've seen people review it. I've seen Tokyo, Diesel-O, Bill Dio, the combinations of those. Yeah, that looks stupid and terrible. But when you're competing with cube animals, that's Zyuohger, and the Curio Ranger, you know, the orbs, the spheres, what have we got to work with? I don't know. I felt like, the Zord, I feel like they're losing ideas for Zords. I feel like they are. I didn't see a problem with this at all. I've seen every episode. People can say, oh, you must feel awful after watching every episode. Really? Really? Do I feel awful? I'm a kid, and the show is adapting to its newer audience. You OG fans that grew up with this, and Zeo, and Turbo, and Lost Galaxy, and Dino Thunder, you go live with that, okay? Have fun watching your seasons over and over again. The show is going to keep coming whether you like what it comes out with or not. I have high expectations too. I'm not saying I don't have any expectations and I like whatever they give me. I'm not always optimistic. I'm trying to stay optimistic. So I'm willing to accept Megaforce for what it is. I'm willing to accept for this for what it is. This was Nickelodeon's play in the deal to have Power Rangers shown on their channel. Super. It worked better with this season than any other. Let me explain. By the end of Samurai, Xandred wasn't defeated, the black box wasn't unlocked, Antonio was still struggling to be a major member of the team, and there was still the matter of an Ultra Zord configuration. Every season had these 4 things at least. The main villain defeated, the main new power source unlocked, the 6th Ranger felt a part of the team in one way or another, and they had an Ultra Zord. Those 4 things weren't in Samurai's ending. This has the Bull Zord, which has the Ultra Zord. Xandred gets defeated by the end of it. They unlock the black box, and Antonio feels like a real member of the team. This was needed to flesh out Samurai's story. People do this, and this, and this to the show. You know what I do? Good job. It's the only Super season to date that has the best continuation to story. Yeah, I know, what's his name? Serrator came in the first Super Samurai episode, and he stayed until, like, the 6th. I know Serrator was a really, really wasted potential, but Serrator was still a good villain that fleshed out Dayu and Decker's story even more, because he was the Nihilok that Decker and Dayu sold their human souls to, and they became half human, half Nihilok. That explained them more, okay? This is the only season to have this much extra story that we didn't need, but we got anyway. Okay? People say that the Super season started with a terrible season. Tell me that this wasn't bad. Tell me right now, this wasn't bad. Yes, but then our next Super season, I'll be honest, I was a part of the vast majority that thought this was rushed and this had nothing to do with Super Sentai and that this, yeah. But I was in the minority that thought, well, it's cool. But I felt like after the first episode of Super Megaforce, every single episode was them freaking out in fanboy. Basically. Look at this. Earth fights back. What do we find out? That they can use legendary Zords. And Jake's like, a car Zord? And then when they unlock the Delta Runner, you know, SBD's Red Ranger Zord, he goes, whoa, that's the car Zord. No, duh! The Blue Saber Saga, that's much better than Noah's episode in Megaforce, which was called Going Viral, or He Blasted Me with Science. Because it unlocked the Mystic Force Dragon. In Mystic Force, it was a combination of all the Zords into a dragon that was hardly ever used. Lion's Alliance, the Red Lion, Samurai. Since Samurai just ended when Megaforce started, it counts as legendary. Okay. I think I know why Jaden was the only one that cameoed in that episode. Because Alex Hartman hated not being on Power Rangers after a season ended. Go watch that hashtag show for proof. I'm not lying. I mean, sure, after Silver Lining ended and Power of Six came out, the show took a turn for the best or the worst. And especially with the legendary battle, people thought that that was already foreshadowed at the beginning of Megaforce. We knew this was coming. We just didn't know how it was coming. Troy had the vision of the entire legendary battle before he was even a Power Ranger. Are you telling me he was the chosen one? I don't like that kind of story. Then again, we have Operation Overdrive, where the Red Ranger started out as a robot. You can't get any better than that, right? Skip ahead after that, and we get this, which is basically Curio. I don't remember the Super Sentai name. Oh, I'm looking it up. I want to be right. I want to have all my information correct. Let's see. What's the name? Zuden Sentai Kuryouja. Okay, that's not even close to what I thought it was. Curio Ranger. Oh, that's the newest Super Sentai. Okay. See? I want to get my facts right. People thought this was a complete reboot to the old Power Ranger formula after the legendary battle. And this to boot. Problem? We could have ended with Dino Charge. And we would have been fine. This is a season that didn't need Super. Actually, yeah, it did. There were still parts to the story we didn't know. Each Energem equals a Ranger. 5 Energems were uncovered by the end of this. Okay, no. 6. Right? They unlocked the 6th Ranger. Oh yeah, by the end of this, we get 8 Rangers. The 5 team, Ivan, Sir Philip, and Kendall. So that makes 8. So I guess they're like, we only need 2 Rangers. Don't make a big deal out of it. We got half a season talking about the Silver Ranger and how he became Doomwing and how Heckle became Snide and the Lord Arcanon and the Dark Energem, which ultimately leads to this being not canon to Power Rangers at all. Crazy how this all works. Now, let's get serious. And when I mean serious, I mean why all of this is getting hated by the community today. Tell me what you don't like. I mean, seriously. Seriously. I know Super Ninja Steel is starting back up, I think today, actually. Yeah, Outfox is coming out at... Oh, shoot! 2 hours! Oh, no! Should I have waited until after seeing that? Because at the moment, Ninja Steel... It felt like another take on an old formula where... the main Red Ranger's parents was like the first... Like, he has a world record. Brody's father, apparently, is the most famous ninja in the world, and he lost to Lord Galvanax, so good job, buddy. We find out in Ninja Steel that, what's his name again? The guy with the guitar, he's the Gold Ranger in Ninja Steel. What's his name again? No. Not? Come on. No, I don't want to look it up. I'm wasting too much time. Let's wrap this up. Or maybe. I planned a lot, but I kind of want to give it in a way that's not boring. People! The toxicity in the fan base is ruining it for kids. People online, and kids are going online to see reviews of these seasons. And people are saying they're trash, or they're terrible, or, come on, Saban, get bought by someone else already. Which it did. Thanks, Hasbro. Or, Hasbro, we have a lot of expectations for Beast Morphers. No more super seasons. But that's part of Nickelodeon's deal. And even if Hasbro has the rights, they still have to use Nickelodeon. which sucks, which means we're basically guaranteed a super season for the next 3 years. Come on! At least I'm getting tired of the same formula getting used over and over and over again. At least I have a few complaints, but my complaints aren't as big as the people that are just looking at it like, looking at this and comparing it to this. This and this. You can't compare them. You can't compare Mighty Morphin to Dino Supercharger, Dino Charger, Ninja Steel. This was made at a time when the actors were still teenagers. Literal teenagers. And when they did their own stunts. Do you realize there was a time in the original Mighty Morphin Power Rangers where if there was, I think, a really terrible stunt accident, there was a stunt that was done wrong, or it was executed wrong, and it was, I think, with the Pink Ranger or something like that. They almost canceled the series ever coming back after that episode, but they were loyal. We have all this garbage because of some terrible stunts. We have the seasons we have now because, well, Mighty Morphin crew didn't give up on being actors for Power Rangers. Sure, one stunt failed. Sure, one of them got hurt a little bit. But they weren't gonna stop with that. Which is why we have Zeo and Turbo and etc., etc., etc. We almost ended Power Rangers in America with just this season. See? We almost didn't have any of this. We almost didn't. But aren't you glad you did? Because you got your best season. You, that one guy out there that likes Time Force. That one guy out there that likes Lightspeed Rescue. Or that one guy out there that likes... Okay, now I can't think of anything. But you know what I mean. Now, before we wrap this whole thing up, let's talk about that one thing I said we would shove till later. This. How? Why? What's its purpose? Why does it even exist? We'll end with this. And then I'll post the question to you guys. Tell me, what is this? I've seen it twice now, and it still doesn't make any sense to me. If this was made at the beginning of Samurai, this would have been a commemoration of the new season with the old season, but we now know RPM's in its own dimension. Let me read the description of what they say this trash movie is. Excuse me.
The Samurai Rangers team up with the mysterious RPM Ranger Red to fight off dual threats from Master Xandron's Mooger army and a robotic supervillain from the RPM Rangers dimension, aka Professor Cog, aka the worst RPM villain ever. They created a villain just for this movie, and that's the representation in Super Mega Force? Anyway. But when both Red Rangers get struck with hypno bolts, they turn against one another, and the fate of the world hangs in the balance. Oh no, the tension rises.
I'm doing this on purpose. Excuse me? Sure, when you're looking at it for the first time and you've never seen this in your life, which if you haven't, I'm sorry for you. And this is still going for 10 to 20 bucks on Amazon. No thanks. I'm glad I got it when I did, when it was like $5. Why? When you're looking at it for the first time, you're like, ooh, are they finally going to have Ranger versus Ranger? Are they finally going to have an evil setup? Are they finally going to have a Red Ranger versus Red Ranger? Is this going to be the new Forever Red? No, it's not the new Forever Red, but you know what I mean. Then when you watch it, really? A lot of you out there doing this as well. But I bet some of you that like the Clash of the Red Rangers like, but Joey, it was good. And then you tell me why. I want to know. Tell me why. Tell me why. Also, one more thing I want to know. I'm just going to say this now for people that have never seen the movie. Don't watch it. It's terrible. It's just trash. In fact, their first encounter with the RPM Ranger Red is this. Another samurai ranger? No, not a samurai. Then who is he? A couple of minutes later, after Ranger Red defeats some Moogers, well, you know what I mean. Whatever those robots were called in RPM. And at the beginning, when you're in RPM, you can tell it has a lot of plot issues. What Megazord does Ranger Red use? Skyrev. If this is after RPM's ending, wouldn't it be the Ultrazord? And if this took place when they unlocked Skyrev in RPM, if this happened in the actual RPM show, I could see that happening, but Cog destroyed the Skyrev. So why would we have the Ultrazord? People would argue, this move's not canon. Some crossovers are canon to their show and some aren't. You're right. This does nothing to Samurai's story. This does nothing to RPM's story. So I guess it is just non-canon trash. But before I go, I just want to say I'm sorry for all the people I might have offended in this video. For all the people that may be against me with everything I say and still believe that the new Neo Saban era is garbage altogether. I ask you to reconsider your thoughts. Don't compare it to your favorite season. Hey! Close that door, mister. Can you go already? You know him by now. My brother. Heart emoji in the comment section. Or brother emoji. Or I don't know how emojis work yet. The question is reconsider your reviews. Reconsider your thoughts on this and this and this and this and this. For a kid that's just growing up with Power Rangers and he wants to hear positive reviews because he's getting into the show for the first time, people are very against all these seasons and it's not helping. I'm trying to get my 10-year-old cousin, my 10-year-old brother, and family members that have never heard of this into the show for the first time, and if I tell them bad stuff, are we going to get new fans? No, we're going to lose fans. This is where we were. We were right here with fans at, the Dino Thunder SPD era. This is our fans at Samurai. And this is our fans at Super Ninja Steel that are still catching up. Still trying to live through it, waiting for next year. This is where we're going to be soon. At Plane Zero. We need to encourage new people with good things. You can mention the bad, but don't make it outweigh the good. Don't make it outweigh the good. This is everything good about a series. This is everything bad. Don't make the bad complaints outweigh the good things about a season. Okay? Keep it level. Please. I'm already telling my cousin every single bad review I've heard, and she's like, well, why do you still watch the show? I'm a committed person to Power Rangers, whether people get bad reviews or not. I have my own things I hate and like with the show, like everyone does. But when you just gotta sit down and think about it. And this is the same issue I'm going to be discussing with Thomas later. But you get the drift. You get the idea. Anyway, my question to you guys is, what's your favorite Power Ranger season? What'd you think of my review? What'd you think of my thoughts? If you have your own thoughts in the comment section. And please, just tell me, what is this garbage? Tell me. And tell me what your favorite theme song is. And thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you all in the next video, or live stream. I should start saying that now. I'll see you all in the next video. I'm out.